I look at it was the last two events, Claressa Shields haven't been crowned undisputed, and the number of people who saw Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, those two events combined, I say elevates this sport to another level.
Yeah, I think we'd get pushback on not calling Perkins a novice, even though she was a world champion, won the world's tournament, got gold in the amateurs. So she was able to compete with, the best women in her weight class around the world and do well in the amateurs at the highest level in the amateurs. But at 5-0, the big pushback I keep seeing with Claressa Shields, and I'm a big believer in Shields being just a great American athlete. Like I liken her to Serena Williams in tennis, or um, man, that's the one that really comes to mind the most. But I think she, Simone Biles in gymnastics and Serena in tennis, just to name a few. But at the same time, the pushback against her, and she rubs a lot of people the wrong way for whatever reason. I like how boisterous she is and that American swagger and confidence that she has. And I think she is the Gwoat. But that being said, the pushback against her is the lack of depth in the weight classes that she's become undisputed at. With a quick research, I think across junior middleweight all the way to heavyweight, she's been undisputed junior middleweight, super middleweight, heavyweight. Um, it's 143 active fighters across those four weight classes. And if you compare it to Katie Taylor, from lightweight to just super lightweight, it's 334 active fighters, nearly 200 more active fighters. So the talent pool is significantly deeper for someone like in the divisions Katie Taylor's been in. And then if you look at someone like Amanda Serrano, who's gone up 8 weight classes, 7 or 8 weight classes, that number is going to get exponentially bigger. So I want to be intellectually honest and acknowledge that that argument has credence, right? But despite all that, like those women, Katie and Amanda, they've taken some losses, and Claressa hasn't even come close to losing. So if you want to make that argument, there's a gap in quality of opposition. She's made up for it by being that much more dominant against maybe a lower level of opposition. And then just last one, Raheem, before I let you cook. The eyes don't lie, Chico. She's got the fastest, along with Katie. Her and Katie Taylor are the best combination punchers women's boxing has ever seen. I think she's one of the best combination punchers, and Katie Taylor in boxing, period. Men, women, hand speed, same thing. And defensively, she's got some of the best upper body movement, maybe the best in women's boxing, highlighted by that beautiful pull counter right hand. You're talking about Flint, Michigan. I think James Toney and Floyd Mayweather would sit back and be very proud of that pull right hand counter that she dropped Danielle Perkins with in that last 10 seconds. That highlight summed up, just how great a fighter she is. So I'm on the Gwoat side. I think she is the Gwoat, but I do gotta acknowledge what the naysayers say. I can't just
Listen,
disregard it.
nobody has more naysayers than boxing. No one's going to look for more flaws or more reason to discredit you than a boxing fan. And in this particular instance, as is true for every era, there is always some hearkening back to a past era. There is only the opponents that are available to you to fight at the time. And if the
Yes.
fight, if the competition pool, as we say, is weak, it's because you're too strong, right? She's making the competition pool look weak because of her dominance. If she was on par with the rest of the competition in the weight classes that she's dominated, then and the fights were closer, she might actually get more credit because she would make these women appear to be stronger and better fighters than they are. It's the Floyd Mayweather who says, I make fighters look bad, right? I make good fighters look bad. I don't know if that's the exact quote, but you know the quote I'm getting
I
at.
make extraordinary fighters look ordinary, right?
There it is,
Yeah.
right? I'm not saying that everybody she's faced is extraordinary. No fighter faces every opponent that is extraordinary, but she did unify and undispute in 4 classes and face who held those belts. And as you've pointed out rightly, hasn't even come close to losing. The best we can say is that she got knocked down once in a fight that she came back to win.
Yeah, Hannah
This
Gabriel's, I think. Yeah.
this fight on Sunday night was a opponent who was much bigger than her, who had a legitimate amateur record, who, yes, had under 10 wins, but was champion, and who came to fight. I mean, she didn't look like a novice to me. In fact, when I saw the media workout stuff, that's when I was like, oh, this girl's not bringing anything. She brought heart. She did bring experience.
Size.
She fought like a champion. It took till the last 10 seconds of the final round for Claressa to knock her out, and Claressa was throwing everything but the kitchen sink. She was, that big right hand. Yes, a lot of those shots looked like they should have taken out anybody standing in front of her, but to Perkins' credit, Claressa missed a lot of those shots. Perkins was able to defend herself, and when she got caught with those shots earlier in the fight, didn't really move her. I was like, wow, maybe just the size difference is why Claressa can't put her down, because I would think a smaller woman would have been knocked out twice in that fight. But then, as obvious as it was that Claressa was dominating, if not every single round, Perkins still was fighting to win in the final round, which is how she ended up open for the knockdown punch. So these women, I believe, both of them, earned the credit. The champion who came in the ring with the titles performed like a champion, and the victor who left undisputed deserves credit for that win, as you would any other fighter in any other era in any other division. And being heavyweight, I would say even a little bit more credit. I would say that undisputed fight rivaled the excitement for me of Fury Usyk 2, at least. You know what I mean? I don't know that at any point during that fight I was like, oh, this is boring, or I know exactly what's about to happen.
I was
I
enjoying
thought,
yelling, whoop that trick at the TV a few times. No offense to Danielle Perkins. It was just hype. It was hype. But I'm not
yeah,
ready to
but
say I enjoyed it as much as Usyk Fury, but go on.
Usyk Fury 2.
Yeah,
Come
okay.
on,
All
Sean.
right.
The first one was more
Okay.
exciting for sure, but all I'm saying is this is an undisputed heavyweight title for a fighter who's going for the 4th time undisputed in a opponent who was game, who was bigger than her, who was able to get away from her big shot for at least half the fight, was able to withstand her big shot when she took it, and was a threat for the whole fight. Again, Claressa for me won every round, but I never discounted Perkins' ability to possibly land something big. I never got bored in that fight. And I think maybe if these rounds were 3 minutes instead of 2, maybe we do get a knockout in this fight. So, we're always talking about, when it was better, but just 5, 6 maybe years ago, we were saying the same thing about this men's heavyweight division. Oh, nobody deserves any credit because the talent pool is weak. And now all of a sudden, Alexander Usyk is a boxing genius, and this no one's questioning the era anymore. So, I just don't buy that argument. I think what Amanda Serrano has faced and what she's done, and what Katie Taylor has faced and what she's done, they're all unique journeys. And women's boxing, yes, is not impacted with talent. I don't know if this will be considered the golden era, but this might be the foundation on which the next golden era is built, because the young girls see that there's some money to be made, there's some stardom in this, and they're inspiring a next generation where we might get more higher level athletes to come because of what these women did. But they can only do what's in front of them, and from what's in front of all of the women that were mentioned, excuse me, at times they have exemplified some incredible, excellent talent, and not withered under criticism or gotten lackluster with their performance. And the last thing I'll say on this, at any point I thought we might see that that iconic moment, a knockout.
Well, and Wolf.
Ann Wolf. I was like,
Yeah.
this. I was thinking earlier in the fight we might see an Ann Wolf moment.
Yeah, we'll
in
see. I
this
mean, she
heavyweight
that
bout.
that right hand was, that was similar to the right hand that Ann Wolf did land against I can't remember the woman's name, but I think Von something, but I'd have to
Right.
box record. But back in
Yeah,
my
and Perkins
pre-boxing
got
era
up.
days, huh?
That's the other thing. Perkins got up. You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
didn't even really. I mean, she went down. It was definitely a
She was
knockdown, no
195
question. But
pounds on fight night and was strong.
didn't even
And
just
from
like
Brooklyn.
lay down on the canvas. Like she caught herself with her gloves. She was definitely knocked down, no question about that. But credit to her for getting back to her feet. I think if the round would have continued, she would have continued. I'm not saying, who knows what would have happened if we had another minute, but she finished the fight. Man, I got nothing bad to say about that fight. And I think there's an incredible amount of overlooking that has been happening in women's boxing that hopefully is coming to an end soon.
Yeah, I'll just close by saying, look, Franchon Cruz Dezern, Christina Hammer, Savannah Marshall, those are good wins. Like, you could talk about the number of quantity of fighters in these divisions all you want, but those three wins in and of itself are excellent to back up the accomplishment of four undisputed champ. And just to reiterate what you're saying, like you can't create fighters that don't exist. Okay, like you can't penalize her for not fighting hypothetical fighters that just don't exist. You fight the best in your given weight class, and if you beat them all, especially in the dominant way she has, you are the best. And yeah, it sucks that her and Katie Taylor and Alicia Baumgartner and Serrano aren't all the same size, so you could truly
Mm-hmm.
find out pound for pound once and for all. But they're all great in their own right, and for my money, Shields by just a little bit over some of her contemporaries stands as the top one. So, but
Yeah. Yeah. And not fighting down to her competition, like staying that level of dominant and staying that level of committed, even if the competition isn't as strong every time out. She's reaching for more challenges. She's not getting comfortable in a weight division where she could just dominate and knock anybody out. For weight divisions, same for Serrano. I mean, the wars that Katie's been in, and we had some technical difficulties earlier, so I want to restate. I want to get back at just as we close this shout out because whenever boxing fans pull up and support the sport, whenever there is the kind of support for a local town hero like there was in Flint, Michigan for Claressa Shields, I don't want to overlook the fact that she sold all but 100 tickets out in that arena in a city that does not have, income pouring out of their pockets. It's not a major metropolis with the kind of economy that these people are going to part with their cash recklessly. They came and supported somebody who's put Flint, Michigan on the map as a town that produced a great athlete. Her
yep,
movie is out in theaters domestically across the United States. Her movie is about to be released in the United Kingdom this Friday. The Fire Inside. This woman just became four division undisputed champion, the heavyweight championship undisputed. To note as the final of the four, you got to salute Flint for producing such an athlete, and you got to salute Claressa Shields for representing a talent like that in America. So, boxing fans all over the world, when you stand up and show up for the sport, I am gonna give you, those flowers. So, that was important to make that moment what it was.
yeah. Actually, to your point too, America had back-to-back venues filled pretty well, pretty damn good. Benavides Morel the night before, and then Clarissa Shields the next day. So not bad, America. Good job, American boxing fans. Back to back cards the week before the Super Bowl. So